Good evening from the farmhouse. Tonight we are having tacos, so I wanted to share with you my flour tortilla recipe. Let's get started. Alright, this recipe will make 8 tortillas. Okay, we're going to start with 2 cups of flour. We're going to do 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. We need 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to stir those dry ingredients together. Now we need 3/4 cup of warm milk. I warmed it up for about 30-40 seconds. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of oil. I'm using vegetable oil. Give that oil in the milk a little stir. And then we're going to pour it into our dry ingredients. And we're going to mix all that together. Now with these doughs, I've noticed that less mixing is better. So once I kind of get it to a fairly mixed state like that, I move to rolling it together with my hands. Alright, so we're going to put a little bit of flour down. Not too much. More flour in this case means a tougher dough, which means tougher tortillas. And I'm just making sure that I am kind of picking up all the loose pieces. I start to roll it into a sort of log. So I am actually making 12 tortillas for my family tonight, but this recipe that I'm giving you makes 8 tortillas. So I have done a recipe and a half to feed my family. So now we're just going to cut. I always start by cutting in the middle. So for you, this is going to be 4 and 4 tortillas. For me, it's going to be 6 and 6. I cut those in half again. Okay. And if you're making the recipe that I just gave you, you're making 8. You just do one more cut in the middle of each one, and that will give you 8. I'm going to cut these into thirds. Just going to move these all up to the top, so I've got room to roll out my tortillas. Spread you a little more flour down the counter, and we're going to get to rolling. Pat your tortilla in the flour on one side, turn it over, pat it on the other side, kind of starting it into a circular pattern. These are not going to come out perfect. Well, maybe you can get them to come out perfect. I can't. But you're just going to start rolling, flipping when you need to. Getting them into a sort of circle or rectangle shape. But either way, just trying to roll them out as evenly as possible. The thicker you make them, the breadier these tortillas are going to be. We typically go for a little bit thinner because I already have enough trouble getting all of my tortilla stuff inside of the shell. There we go. Okay, this is usually the point where I preheat my stove. And I just put it on a 5 in a regular size frying pan there. Beef from our own farm. Once I have about half of the tortillas rolled out, I go ahead and start to cook them with my skillet preheated on a number 5 on the stove. I just pick them up one at a time, put them in the pan. These need to cook for 30 seconds on each side. I used to sit here and time them. Now I just watch for the little bubbles to appear. And Cassie, if you come in here, you can see this starting to bubble up. So once you've got a nice distribution of bubbles over the whole center or over the whole face of the tortilla, then we're going to go ahead and flip it. Nice. And I brought my helper hamburger fryer in to aid the process of taco night here. Once I start cooking the tortillas, I go ahead and get myself a dinner-sized plate ready, and I take a paper towel, fold it in half, and put it on my plate. That keeps the bottom taco or the bottom tortilla from sticking to plate as condensation, gets in between the plate and the tortilla. All right, time to flip. I think the taco seasoning instructions say something about like cooking your meat thoroughly and then adding water and adding the taco seasoning, but we're rule breakers in this house, Cassie, aren't we? Yep. Yeah, so this is how I've always done it. I hadn't read the back of the package. I mean, like as a kid, this is how my mom always did it, so this is how I always did it. We just cook the meat for just a little bit and kind of get a little bit of a moisture layer in there, and then get that taco seasoning in there and mix it around. And that's how we'll continue to do it.
Yup.
When I first started making tortillas, I used to roll all of my tortillas out at one time, and then I would cook them all at one time. But now I can kind of go back and forth between cooking them and rolling them out. So I will roll out about half of them, and then I'll start cooking and rolling at the same time. Rolling out for a little bit, and then putting a tortilla on. Roll out for a little bit, flip a tortilla, and so on. So don't be discouraged if you need to, in the beginning, just roll out all your tortillas at first and then cook them, because that's exactly what I did in the beginning.
No.
Did you have a nice nap? No? You ready for tacos?
Yeah.
Yeah!
The life of a tortilla. Today I got out of bed and was burned to death.
Oh my. And the next set of reinforcements is here for the refried beans. Gotta make a cheesy roll-up for the 3-year-old. The older 4 eat tacos now. They still like the quesadillas, but Nathan's still in quesadilla stage. Olivia, what do you think about taco night? That's how I feel about tacos too.